I'm feeding him, I grab me a snack at the same time.
Well, y'all, we're on and we are live, and I want to say good evening to everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for joining us here on Where Are They Now? And I'm excited to have each of my guests back tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Saturday, March 30th, 2019, when I was able to bring to you guys the most iconic panel of people that I have ever had since we started doing the Frontline. I'm talking about Sade Faber. I'm talking about Kim Franklin. I'm talking about Troy Thomas. I'm talking about John Stennis. And of course, Lady Bishop, Andrea Stennis Hudson is back. All of them are back with us tonight, and I'm excited. And I want to publicly put my brother on blast, Pastor Martise, because he ain't here yet. And he's supposed to be here, but we're going to talk about that later. We all going to jump him when he get here. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hello. Hello.
The shade tonight.
Oh, we going.
Ooh, it's on tonight, baby. It's on.
We going tonight. So listen, everybody, as you come in on Facebook, I'm seeing some of you guys coming on Facebook. Please share the video because this is going to be good. It's going to be fun. All of my panelists, you guys can go ahead and share it as well to your own pages. I'm so excited. I'm excited tonight, like I was over a year ago, having you guys on my panel. Sade, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good. What you up to?
Nothing much. I am, first of all, this is my first time on Zoom, only for you. Will I do something this amazing? I'm still married, still blessed, and still happy. Baby the Lord.
See, y'all, this is what we ready for tonight. And I don't know if y'all ready. I'm ready. I don't know. Kim Franklin, the classy and quiet Kim Franklin. How are you?
I am well, doing well. Sheltering in, working from home.
I know.
But doing good.
How was that for you, working from home?
It's a change. It's an adjustment, not having the routine of going out every day, but I'm used to it now. Don't want to go back now.
Yeah,
I'll
I
work
can
from
imagine.
home forever. Yep.
I could imagine. And of course, I got my boy, Mr. Let Us Pray himself, is back on the front line tonight. This clown. Pastor Troy Thomas. My brother, how you doing, man?
I am blessed and highly flavored. Hallelujah.
Flavored?
These afternoons.
It's
I'm doing good.
the flavor of those Doritos.
Right.
Flavor of the week.
Unlike Kim, I have to get up and go to work every day. I have to go into the building. I have to do my job. I have to come back home.
You've never been self-quarantined?
I haven't. I've had to because I did maybe like 10 funerals in 7 weeks. I had to either preach, play, or facilitate the services. Besides, our ministry, and I've had to kind of ask God how I can adjust myself so that I can keep myself safe, because I do have my nephew, I do have my 4-year-old daughter, so I have to make sure that I am healthy, and make sure that I am taken care of, because what I do affects them as well. Okay,
all right. And of course, we have the infamous note taker himself is in the room. Everybody, John Stennis.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing good. Quarantine has been an experience that none of us will ever forget for the rest of our lives. This will go down in history. I've been sheltered in place as well. The only time I come out the house is for groceries and to do Apostle Saturday Night Live on Saturdays, and I'm right back in the house after that.
Okay. All right. Well, we're glad to have you back, of course. Be ready to be clowned by Troy and Sade for your notes.
Indeed.
We know he ready.
He ready. He ready.
I'm so ready.
Kim, somebody on Facebook says, "Hey, Mommy Kim."
Oh.
And that would be none other than your pastors, my pastors, Dr. Curtin and Linda Stenners. They are on. They're always on with us, and we're happy to have them. Hello, apostles. Hello, everybody that's joining. And last but certainly not least, I would like to reintroduce to you the hardest working woman in Chicago. Thank you for the drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. I call her Lady Bishop, Andrea Stenners Hudson. Hello, my sister.
Hey, brother, listen, y'all with these names and titles, I don't need no more. I don't need any more, okay? I got too many that people are calling me. Lady Bishop, Pastor Lady. I'm good. Don't put no arch on my name. Don't put none of that. I'm good.
I like Lady Bishop myself.
Lady Bishop.
I like that one. So how have you been?
Oh, I've been good. We've both been good. It's been an adjustment. You know, I think we're finally into our routine and everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful to God that we have not killed each other in this house. God has been so good. We are getting along. I mean, we always get along, but you know, after a few days quarantined in with your spouse, you know, but it's been good. God has been faithful. Faithful. I like my husband. I like being with him.
That's a blessing.
Well, right, that is when you like being with your husband, with your spouse. Hey, good evening. We got a lot of people on here tonight. Good evening to Tyree Foster. Good evening, Kendall gone somewhere. He right there with Charlotte. Vanessa Walker. Hey, Nessa. Antoinette Porter. Good evening, Charlotte Ann. That's my godson's mama. Hey, Charlotte. Ebony Hayes. God, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If you will be so kind to share this video, that would be greatly appreciated. You guys, I still have the cards from when we met in March. I will never get rid of them. We had such a phenomenal time. We had such a phenomenal time, and some of the things. Just some of you that missed it, just hear a few of the questions that we talked about. When we did come together, we came together to talk about exploring love and relationships in a Christian contemporary society. And that is a subject that you can never talk about enough. It's always something to talk about in relation to love and relationships, whether it be romantic or platonic. There's always something going on there. And we talked about certain things like what does it mean to be content in your singleness? You know, we talked about that. We talked about the sense of shame that may be attached to some because they are single after a certain age. You know, we talked about some common stereotypes of Christian singles. We talked about at what point do you tell your pastor about your boo thing? We asked that question too.
Pastor Troy, do you remember that answer?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that question.
I don't remember that question. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good. And we also talked about, which was big for us that day, we talked about signs of unhealthy relationships and being in toxic relationships. And the main question that came from that was the question, why? Why do people stay in toxic relationships? I mean, it was so many points that we came across, questions that were asked and answered. And this one was good too. Marrying for convenience. That was a good one.
I think I talked about that.
I think you, if I remember right, I think you did, because there are some people who, you know, like they'll marry somebody because of their status or because of their financial gains, their financial status. You know, they kind of looking for a come up, and if they have to marry to get it, that's what they do. Which don't mean that they love them, not in love with them. They just want what they got, and if they got to get married to do it, they do it. And people, it happens. It does happen. Oh, and then I'm sorry. There's also a "Hey, Mommy Dree" in our comments.
Oh.
That is from your parents as well. So look, let's get into it, and I want to do this with you guys really quickly. I want to ask you all individually, and I want to ask you too that's watching on Facebook. I want you to put your answers in the comments, and I want to go like this. I want to go Sharday, John, Kim, Troy, Pastor Hudson, if you will. I want to go in that order. And this is my question to you all and to you all on Facebook. From first to last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 being most important, what attracts you the most, or what attracted you, if you're married, to your spouse the most? 1, 2, 3, 4. Money, looks, vibes, or personality?
Did you say vibes?
Vibes, yes.
Oh, vibes.
Put them in order. What's most important to you? 1, 2, 3, 4. Go, Sharday.
Lord Jesus, why have you done?
Put your husband right next to you. Go ahead. Put your husband right next to you.
With my man next to me. Okay. Well, I will say vibe.
Okay.
What the other one? Money.
Okay. And then
What's
you
the
got
other
looks and
two?
personality.
Look, personality and then look.
Okay. So your number 1 is the vibe. The vibe
Yeah.
you get from them. And then
Yeah.
money, and then personality, and then looks.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Let's go on. John, your turn.
I would do personality first, then vibes, then looks, then money.
Okay.
Woo! Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. All right. Come on, Kim.
I'm gonna say personality first, vibes, whatever that means. It's like a tie between vibes and looks, I guess, and then money.
You know, it's if you're vibing with somebody, if you can feel their vibes, you know how they say nowadays, positive vibes only. It's the vibration that you get from another person.
Oh,
if you
okay,
vibe with
okay.
them, if you gel
But if you
with
feel
them,
like comfortable around them, or
Yeah,
not, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's important. Yeah. Okay.
So let's get your 4 again. How they go?
Personality, vibes, looks, and money.
Okay, good. Pastor Troy, go.
I'm a man. I'm going to look first. You got to look like something. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm just being honest.
He's an honest man.
Look, because I'm talking about me, Mike, right? I want to be like, hey girl, how you doing? That's how I want to be. So looks, personality. Your personality will determine your vibe, truthfully.
Okay, I like that.
And money, I got my own, praise the Lord. You know,
okay.
It helps if you got some, but yeah, God will provide. He did more for me in the pandemic than outside.
I just asked you to rate these numbers 1 through 4.
Well, I'm gonna preach in my spirit. He did more in it.
Well, you on the wrong show.
Yeah,
you on the wrong show. Drea, Pastor Drea, don't encourage that.
That's my girl. Talking about.
So what's your 4 again? Looks first for you.
Looks, period. The end.
What you say? What you say, John? Come on back.
Go ahead. So you got looks and then what?
Personality,
Okay.
vibe,
Mhm.
then your money.
Okay. Drea?
Oh, I'm gonna make some people very mad tonight.
I'm on with it.
Come on, money.
Money.
I'm gonna eat a chip on that.
So here's the thing. I'm all with the vibes. And when I say vibes, not just me gelling with a person, but I would include vibes like their spirit. Because I'm not, of course I'm married now, but I wouldn't give me the time of day if you didn't have a relationship with God, yeah. So I would say vibes would include your spiritual vibes as well as, positive natural vibes. And then I forgot who said this, but like your personality to me would be linked somewhat with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to be a good discerner. And I think with vibes, that's discernment too. So discerning who that person really is and all of that. So with that being said, here are my 4.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Looks is number 1. I'm sorry. I love all of that. Look at a person's heart. Ooh, their personality. But you got to live with this person for the rest of your life.
Amen.
You got to look at them for the rest of your life.
Raise the roof.
And that's why I said I'm gonna make some people a little uncomfortable because I'm a realist. I believe in don't think about how they look. You think about their heart. No, I'm not gonna be looking in their heart. I'm gonna be looking at their face, at their body.
Flesh and blood did not reveal that. That was the Holy Ghost.
I would have to say looks for number 1. I would have to say 2 for vibes. I would have to say 3 for money, because you got to bring something to the table. Although I'm bringing something to the table, you're going to have to bring something to the table. And then 4, personality.
Did y'all hear that life coach just come out of her right there? I heard it.
Summer sessions now available.
You know?
Yes, they are. Discounted at a discounted rate.
At a discounted rate.
Summer quarantine life coaching with yours.
I got about 10 people I want to send your way. I got about 10 of them I need to send your way.
Send them on her way. I want you guys that's watching on Facebook, I want to see your answers to this question also. And I also want to see your answer to this segment that I call Would You Rather? And I want to ask you guys random questions. So you won't have much time to think about it. This is going to be fun. Let me see. I'll start with Kim.
Okay.
And you all that are watching by Facebook, I want to see your answers in the comments also. Kim, would you rather date someone you trust but don't love, or date someone you love but don't trust?
Oh, man, that's tough.
Woohoo!
Jesus.
Say it again.
Would you rather date someone you trust but don't love, or would you rather date someone you love but don't trust?
Man.
I'm gonna say trust, but
I think that's a good answer.
Hard. Trust but don't love. I mean, yeah. Because if you date someone, you love them, but you can't trust them, that's kind of.
You ain't got nothing.
Yeah, you're not going too far with that.
You can learn to love them, praise them. You can learn to love them.
Learn to love them. Now, I know I could talk about that.
Sade.
Say that again. Say that again. You can learn to love them.
You can learn to love them.
I
Come
did.
on.
But you got to trust them first, right?
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Now, that never happened.
Yeah, you got to trust.
I think the deep folks would say, the Bible say love covers a multitude of sin. But if I can't trust you around the corner, sin on your own way. Won't he do it?
John, you agree with Kim's answer. Why?
Yeah, I think she hit the nail on the head. Love is important, but we talked about this at our panel discussion. Love is only one component of a relationship or of a marriage. So you got to have trust, you got to have communication, you got to have loyalty, responsibility, accountability. So trust is really like the foundation that you build everything on.
Oh.
Okay, I hear you now. Andrea and Sade,
Oh.
would you rather your husband's personality be exactly like yours,
No.
or your husband's personality be the complete opposite of yours?
You wanna go, Lady Hudson?
Sure. We're gonna build it up for you, girls. No, I don't want them exactly like me. I mean, I thought I wanted that in my single years when I was young, and but no. I think that that's where the balance comes in. And I think that when you have a person that is complete opposite of you, they have strengths that you may not have. You have strengths that they may not have. And that's where the balance comes in. So I would not want somebody that was completely like me. For the most part, I'm pretty easy to deal with, but I got my ways. I do. And if it was two of us in this house, oh my Lord, oh Lord. So no, I would prefer somebody that would be completely opposite. And it would be some challenges, but I think it's just better that way. I do.
Okay, come on, Sade.
No, I would no. It definitely could not be two of me in the house. Me and Kendall are total opposite. As you can know for yourself, we are total opposite. He is day, I am night, and that is great because that has helped me mature as a woman, as a person, spiritually. That helped me grow because I used to be hot-headed. So if he was hot-headed, that means we both in jail. So we need somebody
You gonna bail who out?
that's able to bail you out, okay?
Y'all cellmates.
Big favor. He's not for the foolishness. He's not arguing. I used to argue. I used to do all of that. So that works for us, and that's great. Now, the younger Sade probably would have wanted someone that was just like me. I did used to like that because I used to always say, "Man, you're boring." But he's not boring. He is balanced. He levels me out, and that's great.
Okay.
So my answer is no.
Okay, and look, the long lost prodigal son has made his arrival.
Man, listen! I thought it was 8 o'clock. Hey, everybody!
Bro,
Ladies and gentlemen, my brother Martise Murphy is on.
Man, come on, I'm in the room. What's going on?
All right, we're gonna have to move on, and we're gonna just put him on in here with us with this. Let's go now. Let's go, John Kim. Let's go, John Kim Troy. Would you rather your partner has no ambition or goals, but can hang out with you anytime? Or would you rather your partner be extremely successful, but always too busy to see you?
Extremely successful, but always too busy to see me. I mean, you're going to see them sometime, but I think if I had that choice, it would be extremely successful because, even if you see the person for an hour a day or so, that's, you can work with that.
I see John shaking his head, yes.
Me and Kim Franklin are really vibing tonight with these similar answers.
I see that.
Okay. I actually agree with her. I would rather be with someone who was successful and too busy than someone that has no ambition. When you just think about your daily regimen and routine. I'm busy already, especially before the quarantine. You know, I was working sometimes 6 days a week. I would go in early and leave the office at 7. Like, I'm used to not seeing my friends and family a lot, but I was getting that bread though. So I'll catch you on the weekend, or we can do something on Sunday, maybe. But, you know, as long as you're being productive and you are walking and living in your purpose, and you have an honest job and are making honest money, and you are taking care of your responsibilities at home, go ahead and go work.
Come on,
Good
Troy.
answer, John. Good answer.
Where you at, Troy?
I'll make it a trio. More successful than not, because I've learned something my mother taught me. She taught me that what's not working now, with prayer and consistency, can work for you later, because God can give you balance. If you pray for balance, for true balance, there's a way that things can be implemented in your relationship, in your marriage, so that you'll be fulfilled completely. But who want to be with a broke, no goal having, always having fun with no money person? I can't go. I just, it ain't.
You felt that one, Sade?
I can do bad all by myself.
And that goes for friends too.
Say that one more time, Pastor.
I can do bad all by myself.
No, before that.
Alone. By myself. By myself alone. Amen.
So
That was a word.
These were some interesting answers. That was a fun segment. And I want to move on to something else really quickly. So you have, and I want to start with Martise. You have dating apps, and you all can jump in when he's done. You got dating apps. You got, what are some of the dating apps? Tinder.
Christian Mingle.
Even Christian Mingle, though, seriously. You got Tinder, you got Christian Mingle, you got Plenty of Fish. Sade, you said something else, right?
Yeah, what? The Black Planet. Is they still alive?
I don't know. But of all of the dating apps, so here's my question, and you all can take a stab at this. If you use the app and you meet someone, you start dating that person.
Okay.
Should you stop using the app? Should you delete the app when you start dating?
Wait.
Not immediately. Go ahead.
Not immediately.
I wouldn't think immediately.
Okay, Kim.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Come on, Kim, talk. Come on.
Well, no, I wouldn't think immediately, because you're just dating.
Right.
Just met the person, you're just dating. It doesn't, you don't know where it's going. Yeah, that would be, you know, you should, yeah, that's, I don't know. I would hope somebody would not just say, hey, you know, you have to get an understanding on, are you both on the same, thinking the same way about the relationship before you start making demands like that. So, yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. Martise, you got something there?
I don't know anything about the app, so I can't really give you an answer to that. So, but I will say, you know, just in case if I did know anything about the app, I mean, I leave the app open until, like they said, until you know for sure that you know this is the person. I mean, you know what? I leave it open until I know for sure that this is the person that I'm supposed to be with. You know, because you don't want to close the door too fast, because there may be a ram in the bush on another app. Come on,
my brother. Sold out.
Ram. It's something about them rams, isn't it?
Yeah. Lady Hudson, is it okay to be attracted to other people while you're in a relationship?
Oh, Lord.
That's natural. That's natural. Look, but don't touch.
And don't call.
Look, but don't touch. Don't call. Don't text. Don't DM. Don't do none of that. You can admire the beautiful handiwork of God from afar.
Because God is good.
You said that.
Just because you're in a committed relationship or in a marriage don't mean that you go blind.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean that you go blind. You're going to see someone of the opposite sex that's very attractive, and especially if they are your type. Absolutely. But I mean, you don't have no. I mean, if you're really in a committed relationship, you're not going to have any desire to
Come
be
on.
with. When you got desires like that, then something else is going on.
Something wrong somewhere.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I see good-looking guys all the time.
Older.
Yeah, and it's a joke in our house. It's a joke in our house when we're out. Well, before the pandemic, but when we would be out and stuff, and if it was a group of women, you know, that would come in the restaurant, and they were nice-looking women, I'd be like, "Oh, dude, you see them?" I was following before he did, just so he wouldn't even say nothing. I'll bust him out. Ain't put nothing over here. Can't put nothing over here.
Sade, you want to get in there on that?
I do the same thing. Can't tell you what I see, but yeah, I do it all the time.
She's really beautiful, isn't she?
That's a setup.
When you have self-esteem, you know, when your self-esteem is good, you don't mind. Like, okay, man, you see it? You know, I see. Yeah. My husband has a problem with me liking Tyrese, the singer. I've never really been a person that's like go over heels for a celebrity, but Tyrese is the one. I'll see him, I'm like, oh, he's so fine. And my husband look at me crazy. But I'm not like that. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to see Tyrese. If it's the Lord's will, no.
Y'all know people in that car with her.
You know the ass bucking. But yeah, I definitely, you know, it's more so of how your relationship is. If you comfortable acting like that, that's fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, let me hear from the guys. Lady Hudson mentioned a type that, you know, she said, especially if he's her type. So let me hear from the guys. Is it, or have you known it to happen? Maybe it happened to you. That you somehow become attracted to or date somebody that typically would not be considered your type.
Troy, go ahead.
All my fellas quiet on me.
You know, I can say that has happened to me. I mean, I'm not old, but when I was younger, I caught myself having a certain type, right? And then as I got older, I did away with a lot of those preferences and expectations that I had that were unreasonable. So now I found myself to be more open. I still have standards. I want to make that clear. So I'm not just out looking for any and everything and will settle, but I'm not restricted to a certain list, right? I think everybody on here can say when you were like in your, you know, 20s, you were like, she got to be this, and this, and wear this, and dress like this, and be this height. And then as you get older, it's like, you know what? Some of those things maybe don't matter. And then oftentimes you find God bringing someone into your life that might not have a lot of those things, but you're crazy about them. And they're right for you. They're good for you. Like even in terms of body type, I used to think that I wanted a woman that was more on the slim side. And then I got older and I was like, well, full figure women are attractive too. And they're you know, beautiful and they're
bring some meat to the table, baby.
So
what? You better get a roll. I'm trying to tell you.
So yeah, I agree with that.
I mean,
come on, Pastor Tease.
Well, let me see. You know, at one particular time in my life, there was a type, but then, like John said, as I got mature, as I got older, the type kind of went out the window. You know, it was a type. You know, there was some things that you had to know how to do, or there was some ways and you had to look a certain way. Yeah, you have to sound a certain way, even had to dress a certain way. But as I crossed over into my 30s and 30 plus, then things start changing. So, you know.
Troy. Be careful.
I agree. But I'm gonna talk about me. I can be selective, very selective. You must look a certain kind of way. You must dress a certain kind of way. You must carry yourself a certain kind of way. You must look a certain kind of way. Beautiful is the way you must look. I grew up in a household. My mother light skinned. My daddy was light skinned. So I like light skinned women. But one day I ran into a brown sugar. Let me tell you something. Oh, Lord Jesus. And she changed my mind. The Bible says when I was a child, I spake as one. Oh, Lord Jesus. So when I became a man. Oh, Lord. No, okay. But I mean, that did change. I mean, of course it's going to change, because if you stay, what I wanted at 15, I didn't want at 25. What I wanted at 25, I didn't want at 35. And now that I'm 45 going plus, it's not my requirements are different. It's not that important. It's not that serious. What's important is that we love each other. What's important is that we respect each other, that we honor each other, and that we come together as one unit and reach the goals, not only naturally, but spiritually so.
All right.
Oh, well, now, okay. All right. I asked a question on Facebook yesterday.
Did you?
And the question I asked was, how many years, in terms of years, how many years would you date someone older than you or younger than you? And there were a lot of different views and a lot of comments. And I was surprised by a lot of those comments. And one young lady said that her husband is 14 years older than her, and she's happy. Some people said that, oh, I can't date nobody my son's age or whatever. So it was a wide variety of comments. So 2020, is age really just a number?
Not for me, Reverend.
Okay, come on, Troy.
I have grown children in their 20s.
You do?
And their friends hit on me quite often. And I say, baby, go sit down somewhere. I'm grown. Age ain't nothing but a number. I say, yeah, this is a number to me, because this is my personal opinion.
Talk about it.
What do we have in common mentally? I'm 20 plus years older than you. My generation is totally different from your generation. Not saying that God can't fix it, but I need somebody already grown. I'm raising my own kids. I won't raise nobody else's. You dig what I'm saying? So that's for me. Age makes a difference. Now, I got quite a few cougars in my inbox.
Oh Lord.
But bless the name of Jesus. You know, I got a mama. She going to be with Jesus. I'm gonna let her be with Jesus. Praise God. I need somebody.
So Troy,
in the face, thick in the waist, and that's pretty. Yes, go ahead, Reverend.
You wouldn't date much younger than yourself then?
I would go at anywhere between, I think the least that I probably would go is maybe 7 years. Maybe 7 years. But I'm not, I mean, my way I am, the person that I am, I need somebody to understand my generation, where I came from, especially when it comes to spirituality, because I'm an old dude on the inside. I know hymns that other people don't know. They call me Donnie McClurkin Jr. I know the verses to the hymns. So if I'm singing a song, you're looking like, oh, that's a nice song. No, sing along with me, baby. Come on, we sing together. So no, I can't do it.
Kim Franklin, how do you feel about that? Would you go younger or older?
Now, I personally, I could go older, as long as they're in good health. You know, I don't want no.
Come on.
I'll be honest. I don't want to have to.
And if they're not in good health, you get that insurance
They can't
benefit.
be in hospice, okay?
Right. I don't want to, or they're, about to keel over.
Check out of here.
Unless they sign you on the papers.
Exactly. You
What?
gotta get on that wheel.
That's a short-term thing.
Let us know. It's the contract.
Tim, you won't have to work another day in your life.
I would probably go younger, a few years younger, but probably more open to going to being with somebody that's older.
Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah. Because at a certain point, and I understand what Troy was saying too, but at a certain point, I think it I think there's another question there, but you reach a certain age. Well, I'm saying, because I think, Troy, when you get older, you would go younger than what you would go now. What you're saying, like 7 years. But say if you were like 65, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out here. I think men have a more, they're not going to go for somebody that's close to their age after a certain point.
Yep.
But you know what it is? I think it's an individual thing. I agree with you. But sometimes what happens is we as men, we go much younger. And then what happens is we lose the connection with them by being younger, because there's things that they want to do and can do that we can't. You know, we can't go to midnight musical because we sleep by 8:30. You know what I'm talking about? We up at the crack of dawn with Jesus and the Mexicans, but they still
Jesus and the Mexicans.
I cannot.
I'm just saying.
You help me.
I'm just talking about everybody is different. For me, no, I'm just saying, I believe this. My mother and my mother's sisters in their 60s were beautiful women. So I believe the Lord would give me a woman that is beautiful enough, even in her 60s, for me to be attracted to. And if I love her like I say I love her, like I love Jesus, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to love her the same way. I feel the Holy Ghost power, but I'm okay, though. Go ahead.
We're going to move on. I'm going to ask John the same question, then I want to go switch up a little bit on my married couples. Go, John.
Right, Sade.
So when we think about age gap in relationships, typically they carry some type of stigma or stereotypes, right? We always clown, especially the celebrity couples that have these large age gaps, like Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They used to clown them all the time on like the late night shows. Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey, I mean, they're not together anymore, but they had a really large age gap. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore had a very large age gap. And so I think that over time, people have become more open and accepting of it and kind of feel like whatever floats your boat, that's fine. I agree with Troy and Kim. In Troy's point, I think it's a personal preference that people have. Some want somebody that's within like 5 or 10 years of their age, and then some people just don't care. Now, within reason, does age matter? Yes, on some level it does, because, and Matthew brought that point out jokingly in your post yesterday, referring to the R. Kelly situation. So if you have a grown man that is attracted to someone that's an adolescent, that's a problem, all right?
That's a problem.
But once you're like fully into adulthood, then, you know, some people are more open to it. Personally, I wouldn't want to be with a woman that was more than 5 to 10 years older or younger. But again, and that could change again in my life 10 years from now. You know, like Kim saying, it's always evolving. So what my preferences are in my 30s now may not be when I'm in my 40s. So, you know, it'll change. But for now, I'm open because I've seen a lot of people that do have an age gap and they're happy. And the article that you sent us, the study they did actually showed that there is no difference in happiness between couples that are closer to age and those who have a wide gap. Both focus groups said that they were happy and they enjoyed life and were doing well. So I think it's up to the person, you know, what they want to do.
Sade, what's the age difference between you and Kendall?
I knew you was coming. I was trying to be quiet and not share my testimony.
Come on.
7 years. We're 7 years apart.
7 years. Martise, how far apart are you and Nancy?
3.
And Pastor Drea?
We're 3 years.
3 years. So there's not a big difference for either of you that are already married. So I want to ask you, all of you, you can jump in on this. What advice would you give someone, an adult, that says they're ready to get serious about someone who is 10 years younger than them? And the reason I ask that is because Troy said something that you may not be mentally compatible. But is that always the case?
No.
I don't think so.
So what I said is, you have someone that's 35 years old. They get serious about someone that's 25. Now let's go right there. Let's talk about that.
I think it's more off maturity, because I know, say for instance, I know someone that's maybe 28 and she's very much mature. She's established. And I really more, like I said, I think it's more maturity than really age. Because like I said, me and Kendall are 7 years. He's 7 years older than me. And when he met me, I was established. I had my things together, and we can go somewhere and kind of be on one accord in any atmosphere. So, like I said, maturity.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, lady.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna agree with Sade. I think it's maturity. I think it's what you have in common. You know, sometimes that person that's 25 could be more mature, and you can really, like, I don't know what you say, vibes. You could be gelling together, and you could, you know, it could just turn out that that person is really, you have quite a connection, and that you're on the same wavelength. You're pursuing the same things together. So I think it's possible to work. Yeah.
Lady Hudson, you had something there?
Yes. So I'm going to go a little deeper.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go a little deeper because as a pastor and spiritual leader, I don't want to use the word counsel because I'm not a licensed counselor, but I have advised couples regarding marital advice, and I've seen the age gaps. Can couples live happily ever after when there is a significant age gap? Yes, they can. Absolutely. Just as if couples were the same age, because all it's really about at the end of the day is you and him putting in the work. So absolutely, whether you are 10 years younger or 10 years younger or the same age, you can have a happy, healthy, productive marriage as long as you guys put in the work. Now, that being said, I've seen some things, and people say that age ain't nothing but a number, age don't matter, but eventually it will be an issue. It will be an issue. Physically, sexually,
Ooh, geez.
Oh, Lord.
financially, Emotionally,
That's low.
you're going to go through some hurdles when there is an age gap. That is just real.
That's true.
Without it, I'm gonna keep everything PG-ish. PG-ish.
Come on with it.
Look at it when you talk about our bodies as women and our bodies as men.
Blue pill, red pill.
So women, you know, we don't really, researchers have said, and people definitely can, you know, Sade, Kim, y'all can, you know, but they said that as women, we don't reach our peak until later in life.
Yeah.
Whereas our counterparts reach theirs a little sooner. So when you're talking about coming
Look at Troy's face.
I just noticed all the women just started laughing at the same time. Okay.
PG-ish conversation. These are things that you have to think about, you have to consider, and you have to communicate. You got to talk through this stuff. Before, while you're dating, you got to talk through all of this. You can't just say, oh, it's so nice, they're younger than me, and oh, you know, I'm getting my youth back, and they keep me young.
Y'all got a groove back.
Listen.
Such a vibrant thing.
Life brings changes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Body changes. Emotional changes. And these are things that couples that are, you know, that are dating, where there is a significant age, you know, gap, these are things that they should be talking about.
I agree.
Okay. I'm glad you said that.
That's a good point. Yep.
Now I got about a good 13 to 18 minutes before we get off of here.
You got 30.
Now no, we ain't doing that. Now let's stay kind of sort of right there, Lady Hudson. Let's kind of stay there. In the PG zone.
PG-ish.
I watch things on Facebook and I see things. And I purposely saved this one up here for you guys tonight.
Lord Jesus.
I saw a man, a preacher, that goes to a predominant church in Chicago. And he said that he is not going to marry her until he test drives the car. That's PG, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in relation to compatibility, how do you handle that? If in fact, I see you, Troy, if in fact you've already experienced it, okay, you've already driven around a couple blocks, okay, so you know how to drive, and now you're ready to get
manual
one car that's gonna last you for the rest of your life, okay?
Oh, goodness.
But this dude is saying, I better test drive this car before I make that decision. Now I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna leave it to Troy, and then y'all can go ahead.
I'm gonna tell y'all something funny, right? After my father passed, my mother was saying there was a lot of men that was coming at her, right? And so she said, I'm not gonna sin. I come to find God to go back for sexual acts. She said, but I did ask God, can I tell him to put it on the table to make sure that it worked on command? I say, Sandra Irene Thomas, what did you just say? She said, I asked God, can I say, put it on the table and say, come forth immediately? She said, because I ain't got time to wait.
Believe my bones live.
Right on in. In my experience, I'm just, hey, that was fun. I don't care what y'all say. It was nasty in my mouth, but it was fun. But in my experiences, I've been I've test drove a few vehicles.
Testify, brother. Testify.
Well,
I've test drove.
nobody tell it but you. Tell it.
Look. I've test drove some luxury, mid-grade, and some hoopties.
Ooh.
Hoopty.
In around the world, and
I'm talking about where you put the gas in the radiator and the water in the gas tank. Hoopties.
Jesus.
But it is a real thing called soul time.
Yeah.
It is.
And what I experienced doing that was, if it was not compatible, I then took on their attributes unknowingly and unwillingly.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself acting, saying, responding in manners in which are not my normal personality, not my normal person, but because I have attached my soul to them, I have now taken on them.
Mm-hmm.
So then, if I decide that they're not the person that I want to be with, I got to shed that all over again. And I've learned that every time you do it, it comes back 7 times harder. Somebody say time. Time. It comes back 7 times harder. I mean, I understand it on a natural sense because you want to be compatible. But if you are a man or woman of God, you have to understand not just the natural portion of it, but the spiritual portion of it.
Right.
I mean, maybe y'all never experienced it, but I had to experience trying to preach to people, trying to hear from God when your mind and heart is full of something that's not a part of God's plan for you.
Yeah.
So you have to fight through all of that to get to the assignment that God got for you, so that His word can be delivered properly, that His glory and His power can be felt in your assignment. So I would say, if you just wait. I mean, I tell young people this, young men this. It is but JJ, it got the same goal and the same purpose. It's just on a different body. That was PG.
That
was PG.
It's a diamond, brother. It's a diamond.
It's a diamond. Okay, I tell my girls, I said they all got a sugar box. Is that better?
Still ain't right.
Is that better?
There you go.
We got a
Move
jewel.
on to Martise Murphy.
Yes, stop.
PG.
Come on, Murph.
Yeah. I'm kind of like with Troy, that whole thing about sampling the product before you get it. I mean, a lot of times you can sample the product and it can be the bomb when you sample it, but you can go back another day later and you be like, man, what happened? So I wouldn't, I'll just, if it's true love, because at the end of the day, Bishop Davis used to tell, when we used to have the little marriage counselors, what happens when the functioning stops?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that means, that being said, just because it's good and you liked it, when you sample, you drove around, a car would ride real good for some years, but after a certain amount of time, it's going to break down. But yet and still, but you fell in love with that car, so you rebuild the car or you restore the car. So, sampling it, miss me.
Sade.
Okay. What would my pastor want me to say? My pastor would want me to say, wait till you get married.
What
would Sade say?
I'm not going to tell him act like I waited till I got married. No, I'm not. I used to think the same. Well, probably still do. I think the same way as the pastor did. Try it out, because I don't want to be stuck with something that's not right.
Woo.
And be, committed to something that's not right and faking. That's not my ministry. But the right spiritual thing to do is wait. So don't,
Good answer.
I don't know. Pray about it, because I don't know. Being stuck with something like that. Oh, Lord Jesus, I couldn't do it. Now we married for now we married for, because everybody know I got a lot of kids. So clearly, you know, I had a lot of, you know, in the court. So basically, I just feel like you just, it depends on, okay, if my husband, if something happens to my husband, Lord forbid, if something happens to him as he get older, of course, we've grown together, we've connected, so we have more to stand on than just sex. It's not just sex anymore. It's more so of love and loyalty. So we have more to hold on to. But if it started off like that and that's what we still got, there's no way I could still be
Man, I'm telling you, I could ask y'all questions for hours because y'all, each of you in your own right, are so wise and intelligent and funny. And I enjoy talking to you all. I enjoyed you all as much tonight as I did last year. I would like to, before we get off of here, I want to say thank you to each of you for taking time out of your schedules because I know y'all, all y'all busy. And I appreciate you coming on. And I like to do something as I end each of my shows. And I'm going to call on three of you for specific reasons. Kim Franklin, you are the one who I can say, if anybody asks me, if any female especially asks me who I could point them to talk to them about living single and successful and saved.
Say for real.
Yes.
I would definitely, you are first on my list.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So before we leave, you're first. I want you, Kim, to take just a minute and encourage the single woman. Go.
So I would just encourage if you're single and it's just whatever age you find yourself in, because your outlook changes depending on your age. You find things to do to keep yourself busy. And go to the Lord with whatever your desires are. When you find it difficult, you know, you can, if you just ask the Lord to keep you. There are times where sometimes you may not want to keep yourself even. I'm just going to be, you know, be real about that. But the Lord, if in your heart you really want to be kept, you can just be honest with God, and I believe He will keep you. He can even arrange your circumstances where you may not run into that person that you're so attracted to, or that you're prone to slip up with, or whatever. I mean, I've just found He just has different ways of keeping us. And then ask Him for friends, like-minded friends. You can't you have to watch who you're hanging out with, watch where you're going. You know, learn how not to put yourself in certain predicaments if you want to be kept, that kind of thing. And it's just a matter of just doing what at any age you have to do. You have to kind of keep going to the Lord and asking Him to renew your mind where it needs to be renewed, give you a new heart in certain areas, a new way of thinking about things. And you know, I'm not going to say how old I am, but I think, you know, I've gone through enough of the stages that, you know, the issue of singleness, it can continue to come up, but as it comes up before me, I just continue to go to the Lord and say, okay, God, what about this? You know, and I just share with Him, this is how I feel about this now. And if I have a problem in an area, I'm just honest with God and say, hey, God, you got to work this out with me. And you know, because you just have to keep going. You have to keep somehow pressing forward with the Lord. You don't want to just stumble and get stuck and or I think early in my life, I decided there's one thing I didn't want to do was just have a bad marriage. So marrying, for me anyway, just marrying the wrong person was not an option that I really wanted to experience. So I guess bottom line, yeah, just wherever you're at, just keep going before the Lord with it.
I think
whatever your thoughts are.
I think we can take that, everything that she said, that applies to single men as well, just single, period. So thank you for that. I want y'all to know Kim Franklin is single and unbothered. Okay? I want you to know that. I love that about her. She's so calm and cool and classy all the time. Thank you, Kim, for coming on. Lady Hudson, how long have you and Archbishop been married?
It'll be 16 years in August.
16 years. And it's safe to say that, as with it is in every marriage, you know, it's not always high all the time. Every marriage has its issues, it's whatever you want to call it. So I want you now to talk to every married couple, not just the women. Talk to the married couple, encourage them.
So I would encourage every married couple to let you know that where you are, if it's in a season of where you guys are just not gelling, you're not on the same page, it's just a season, and seasons change. And it's not enough for you to throw in the towel and say, this is it. Whatever you're going through that seems so serious, and it could very well be, but I would admonish you that there's enough left in your marriage to work. There's enough left. There's enough left to build. I think it's all about your perspective. It's all about your perspective. And you've got to realize that where you are, sometimes there are seasons when couples just, you know, it's not that you are, people are cheating on each other or stuff like that. And it's not always that. It's just, you know, seasons where you feel like you just, you know, you're not really on the same page. But things change. And I always tell people, you got to put in the work. You have to put in the work to have a healthy marriage. And there's always enough left to build, no matter what you've gone through. And you have to sometimes get outside help. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling, marital counseling, therapy, nothing wrong with that. You know, we always encourage those that are engaged to get premarital counseling of some sort. And then after you're married, it's okay to continue it, because as you grow in your marriage, you grow individually and you grow collectively. Who I am right now, almost 16 years later, is not who I was when I got married. I'm a totally different woman. And I'm not just talking about age-wise. I'm talking about mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I'm totally different. And with marriage, it's about growing. And so sometimes with marriages, and this is a whole nother subject, people get stuck. So they don't like when growth happens, because they were like, well, when I married you, you weren't like this. And I stayed this way. And I want you. But that's the beauty of relationships, is that they do evolve, and you got to learn to evolve with it. If your spouse is different now, don't get upset. Evolve with them. And so I just think that for someone that just feels like they're at the brink of divorce, they're at the brink of calling it, there's always enough to start over. There's always enough to rebuild. Get some help. Get some counseling, you know, seek the Lord Get your strength in the presence of God. Ask the Lord to change your lenses, how you looking at your marriage, how you're looking at your spouse, because God can do it. Listen, I believe God can do everything. I just don't believe him on a Sunday morning. I just don't believe him. I believe him for everything. Literally everything. I trust God for everything. That's regarding my personal life, my marriage, my finances, my body, everything. So, you know, I was a virgin when I got married. So, of course, I was thinking, like, I waited all this time. I hope it's good. Hope it's right. I don't want it to be in vain.
Let's bring it, Doc. Bring it.
But see, here's the thing. Because I love God and I trust him with my life. I said, Lord, I know you're going to bring me the right person that's compatible with me. I know you are. I know you are, because that's how much I trust you with my life. I trust you with my life. I know you're going to bring someone that's going to be compatible sexually. Yes, absolutely. You're going to, because you already said in your word, you're a rewarder of them that diligently seek you. And I'm going to put that right there in that particular category. Lord, I have sought you all this time. You will reward me. And hallelujah, he did. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, all right.
Drop the mic.
I want to thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you for coming back on to be with me tonight. Where are they now? This was fun. This was just as fun as I knew it would be. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining me tonight. Hey, you all here on with me tonight, and you all that are watching by Facebook, I do want you to take a minute to go to my website, WillieTaylorMinistries.org, and purchase your very own Plant, Build, and Dominate t-shirt. We have them in several different colors. We want you to go and purchase one of those t-shirts. And each of my guests that have products, some of you all are just booming with entrepreneurship. I want you to take whatever you have, and I want you to put it in the comments on this Facebook Live so that people will be able to contact you and go to your website or whatever to purchase the products that you all have. We appreciate you for your support. Charlene, John, Troy, Lady Hudson, Pastor Martise, Kim Franklin, thank you all so much. We know where you are now, and we're looking forward to what's coming with you. Oh, John has on one of my shirts now.
I see him.
I see you there. I see that.
I enjoyed you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to bid you all good night. And next week on Where Are They Now, it will be the conclusion of Where Are They Now. I'm bringing back the guests from the Frontline Volume 3, which were Otis and Shonda Burns, Pastors Otis and Shonda Burns, Pastor Prophet Tyree Beard, and yes, the one and only Kurt and Linda Stennis will be back here next Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Until then, I'm signing off. I'll talk to y'all later.
That's 12 minutes.
Bye.
Let us pray. Love y'all.
Hey, y'all. Bye.